What do bleach, bedazzle guns, and a 1990s windbreaker have in common? They can turn a dusty thrift store score into a TikTok-fueled small business overnight. Welcome to Unboxd Origins. I'm Howie, your resident science geek and accidental trivia sponge.
And I'm Wyatt. I ask the big questions. Sometimes philosophical, often skeptical, always curious.
Today, we're digging into how did TikTok thrift flip videos remake the fashion resale market? Start at the beginning and it looks almost accidental. TikTok arrived as a short-form video platform that rewarded punchy edits, satisfying transformations, and repeatable formats, the exact ingredients of the thrift flip tutorial. Creators discovered that showing a before, a step-by-step alteration, and a glossy reveal in under a minute kept viewers glued to the screen. You add a catchy sound, a fast cut to the finished piece, and suddenly strangers are asking where to buy what you just made. The platform's For You page amplified that loop. A single creative flip could go from a bedroom sewing machine to millions of feeds in 24 hours, and with it came attention, followers, and crucially, orders. There's a technological and cultural tandem behind that virality. Algorithmic recommendation systems rewarded what performs, not what's objectively new. So creators iterated on a template that worked. Hashtags like #thriftflip and #thrifttalk became shorthand for a genre that mixed DIY, upcycling, and micro-commerce. Meanwhile, the pandemic lockdowns gave people time to learn basic sewing, to scour online thrift listings, and to rethink closets. Add to that a generation primed for authenticity and circularity, younger shoppers who prefer one-of-a-pieces and the story behind them, and you have fertile ground. Resale platforms noticed. Shops that once relied on foot traffic were suddenly getting links in bio, DMs full of "how much for that jacket?" and buyer behavior shifting toward curated, story-driven items. The market mechanics then shifted from hobby to hustle. Sellers began to think in niches. 90s denim reworked into crop tops, button-up shirts into corsets, vintage band tees reimagined with new art. That specialization let creators build recognizable aesthetics, which is crucial in a feed-based economy. Listing tools evolved to support that. Easier image uploads, pre-filled descriptions, bundle discounts, and even integrated ways to link inventory from reselling platforms straight into social bios. More importantly, creators learned to turn content into commerce. A tutorial demonstrating a flip is simultaneously a proof of skill, a product showcase, and a how-to for viewers who then want to commission or buy finished pieces. The feedback loop tightened. Content creates demand. Demand creates curated supply. Curated supply sparks more content. As the attention economy turned into a resale economy, prices and supply dynamics changed. Vintage pieces that were once priced for nostalgia suddenly carried a premium because they'd been featured on a viral video. That meant two things. One, the resale marketplace expanded. More buyers were comfortable paying for secondhand items. And two, the very sources of thrift inventory experienced pressure. Small, local thrift stores saw spikes in foot traffic and sometimes empty racks in certain categories. People who once shopped for their own wardrobes started buying strategically to resell. That created a new layer in the supply chain. The sourcer, who knows what sells, the flipper, who reworks it, and the creator, who broadcasts the transformation.
Aha! Here's the part most people miss. The thrift flip is less a sustainable revolution and more a new kind of fashion arbitrage, fueled by attention. On the surface, it's virtuous. Reuse, reduce waste, celebrate vintage. But the engine driving it is desirability created by narrative and scarcity. The algorithm doesn't reward "this is useful." It rewards "this is shareable." So what gets amplified are the rare, photogenic finds and the most dramatic transformations. That raises two inconvenient truths. One, increased demand can make genuine, low-cost thrifts harder for economically vulnerable shoppers to access. And two, once scarcity is monetized, market forces step in. If a style sells and gets filmed, expect copycats, price jumps, and an ecosystem built to extract value, not necessarily to minimize waste.
That contradiction reshapes business practices. Resale platforms and traditional retailers both scrambled to adapt. Many resale apps leaned into creator tools, easier in-app checkouts, promoted listings, and analytics for sellers because the platform that makes it effortless to convert views into sales wins. Independently, some sellers professionalized. They adopted inventory management, built small brands around a signature flip style, and used paid ads or cross-platform funnels to scale. On the retail side, fast fashion companies noticed the aesthetic trends bubbling up in thrift flip content and started producing similar silhouettes en masse, a kind of ironic full-circle move where vintage looks are reproduced cheaply, undermining the very scarcity that made the original flicks valuable. The result? A hybrid market where handcrafted one-offs and mass-produced throwbacks coexist, each competing for attention. There's also an economic democratization story that's easily overlooked. For some creators, thrift flips were a gateway to entrepreneurship. People with basic sewing skills and good storytelling reached audiences that conventional retail marketing often ignores. Microbusinesses leveraged thrift flips to build sustainable income streams, sometimes replacing traditional retail jobs, and some scaled into multi-person operations or partnerships with local vintage stores. These mini economic ecosystems are interesting because they rely less on capital and more on taste, authenticity, and platform literacy. In that sense, the flip is a low-barrier path into the fashion market for people who'd never considered starting a business.
And another aha moment, the platform turned local taste into global taste. Where once a particular flap of denim might be a regional preference, TikTok's algorithm made it universal. That democratization of style is powerful, but it also flattens nuance. When one creator's flip becomes the template, it encourages homogeneity in what's being sourced and sold. Local thrift diversity, garments reflecting regional histories, cultures, and makers, gets overwritten by what the feed rewards. So while thrift flips can empower individual creators, they can also erode the local ecosystems that made vintage interesting in the first place.
Those tensions, empowerment versus commodification, sustainability versus scarcity, are playing out in real market shifts. Some thrift stores have adapted by curating higher quality inventory or creating online stores to reach buyers directly. Vintage boutiques now function partly as content studios, styling pieces specifically for camera-friendly reveals. Resale platforms continue to iterate with features like in-app video, shoppable posts, and creator partnerships. Meanwhile, consumer expectations have evolved. People want the story, they want provenance, and they want convenience. The endgame isn't simple. The resale market has expanded and matured, but it's increasingly intertwined with the social media attention economy that birthed it.
So why does this matter? Because the thrift flip trend teaches a larger lesson about how attention rewires markets. Platforms don't just reflect taste, they actively create it. When a medium rewards certain formats, entire industries shift to fit those incentives. Fashion used to be filtered through gatekeepers, designers, editors, retailers. Now the gate is an algorithm optimized for engagement. That has democratized access in wonderful ways, but it also exposes how quickly cultural capital can be monetized and how market dynamics can alter the original ethical narratives around reuse and sustainability.
To sum up, TikTok thrift flips remade the resale market by turning transformation into content and content into commerce. Short-form video made flips replicable and shoppable. Creators became curators who could monetize taste without a storefront. Resale platforms and retailers adapted their tools and inventories, and economic ripples changed price dynamics and supply chains. The result is a bigger, more visible resale market that's both more inclusive for creators and more vulnerable to commodification and supply pressures.
And from a bigger picture standpoint, the story matters because it shows how culture and commerce are inseparable in the digital age. A fun DIY video can become a business model, a community builder, and a market signal all at once. We should celebrate the people who found creative, sustainable ways to make a living, but also keep asking hard questions about access, equity, and whether virality is a sustainable basis for cultural value.
If you like the idea of fashion that's part treasure hunt, part startup, think about where you point your attention. Buying thoughtfully, supporting local thrift stores that pay fair wages, and avoiding the impulse to flip everything just because it's trendy are small ways to keep the ecosystem healthy.
And remember, trends will come and go, but the structural forces, algorithms, platform incentives, and market dynamics will keep shaping them. Understanding that helps us make better choices as consumers and creators.
If you enjoyed this deep dive into thrift flits and the resale revolution, like, subscribe, and share with fellow curious wardrobes. What do bleach, bedazzle guns, and a 1990s windbreaker have in common? They can flip a dusty thrift store score into a TikTok-fueled small business overnight.